everybody. How you doing? This is Drew with Radio 13.fm, and I am just so pumped to be sitting here talking with Steve from Confessions of a Traitor. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. How are you?
Hey, doing well. Hey, you know what? I had the opportunity to come out and check you guys out in Denver. Roughly, I don't know, it's about a 1,500-mile round trip just to see you guys, you and Convictions. But I will tell you, I drove home in a monsoon, and every raindrop, I just felt it was worth it because I got to see you guys on your first U.S. tour.
For starters, it won't be our last, but I can't thank you enough for coming. It was an absolute pleasure to meet you, and it was for me to see the man behind the promotion that you do for us is unreal, and to know that you traveled so far, 750 miles just one way
Well,
is bonkers to me. Bonkers.
well, I'll tell you what, man. Part of it is also Confessions. Michael, absolutely love that man. We've seen him multiple times, and when I heard you guys were going to be touring with him, as soon as Michael made the announcement and I saw you guys on the bill, I'm like, well, I told the wife, I got to go. I have no choice. I got to go. So, but what an incredible set, man. I was absolutely blown away.
Thank you.
So, I mean, for me, I'm relatively new to you guys. So I always like to say new to me bands. I came across you guys probably last year. You guys did a song with Ryan Kirby, I believe, featuring Ryan Kirby, Myra.
Yeah.
That was great. I'm a huge Ryan Kirby fan, number one.
He's fantastic.
I'm like, okay, if Ryan Kirby is hooking up with these guys,
they've got to be all right.
Yeah, why am I not on the boat? So I go and search, and I just wanted to show something really quick, if you don't mind. So I'm going to search, and I'm like, Confessions of a Traitor. Who are they? So I'm going to throw something out here real quick.
I'm surprised by this.
No, don't be surprised. You'll be fine. We're going to share this here. Hopefully you can see it.
Walker, I drift out. Am I ever really there? Drift out with my bloodshot eyes, clouded minds, moving at breakneck pace. What's the one tree life? Rose arise, never content in the moment.
I'm not gonna lie, man. One of the coolest things I've ever seen. That was just awesome.
So there's lots of funny stories behind that, but that video actually went crazy viral for us about 3 years ago, and it got shared on a UK it was like a meme page, and basically somebody posted it, and I think within 2-3 weeks it was at 1 million views, and then it kind of quietened down a little bit, and then suddenly got a resurgence and ended up at like 2.5 to 3 million views within about 2-3 months. And the day that it came out, I couldn't open Facebook, I couldn't open Instagram because it just kept melting down because of the amount of traffic. But yeah, that video is of us playing a cafe in Romania at 8 o'clock in the morning. We were on tour with the band Crazy Town.
Yep.
And that's the band, that's Crazy Town, sat eating breakfast, watching us, and Shifty, the singer, knows I hadn't had like a hot meal in the best part of 3 or 4 days, and feeds me the omelet halfway through the set. And it was a really bougie restaurant. And when I turned around, I was like, "Oh wow, that's some real good food there." So all legitimate.
Omelets were great.
Oh, it was so good.
Oh man, so that was right there. You guys had me hooked. I'm just telling you right now. Ryan Kirby, and you're eating omelets while you're doing a metal show in a cafe. You guys had me hooked. So then, when you're album came out,
Hmm.
right back there on the wall.
I spotted that a moment ago. I was like, that's really cool.
Yep. When that came out, I was absolutely. I don't know how many times I listened to it over and over and over again.
Thank you.
There's quite a few of the songs on there that I played, and I was talking with the guitar player, your guitar player, and I apologize, I do not remember his name right offhand. He's the only guy that was about my height. Everybody else
Oh,
is like
Jack. Yeah,
Kevin.
Jack. Yeah.
Yeah, Jack.
Yeah, he's the shortest one at 5'11" or 5'10".
That's why when we took our picture, I stood right next to him. But when I was talking to Jack, I said, "Yeah," I said, "I've got 6 of your songs in our rotation right now," and he goes, "Why don't you have 10?"
That's a very him response. That's a
Yeah.
very him
So when I
response.
got home, I uploaded the last 4 into our rotation. So you guys now have an entire album in our rotation.
amazing.
You are the only band that I can say that about. So,
Well,
yeah,
I appreciate you immeasurably for that. I'll let Jack know that you've recently updated the playlist.
yes, he was the catalyst for that. So, so on that, man, there's just so many great songs on there.
Thank you.
It's hard for me to pick a favorite. Lovecraft, love. Hollow, love. Out of all the songs on there, which song to you is do you have a favorite? Is it hard for an artist to say I have a favorite?
It's Forever Hollow is my favorite on that record. And it is difficult to verbalize which one I prefer, but there are I like them all differently. I think the standout one for me on the record is Forever Hollow, just because it's slightly different from the rest of the tracks. It is obviously heavy, but I think it's the most mellow song we've ever written, and doesn't rely on like big heavy breakdowns and real nasty bits. And it's the one that evokes some of the most emotion live. As a part of that run that we did with Convictions across North America, the amount of times we'd see people in the front row crying during that song was countless, and it has such an emotional impact. I think there's a lot of emotion that went into the writing of it as well. I think another one that stands out for me is To Care for Those Who Cared for Us.
Man,
that I think I told you on the day what it was about, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. If you want to hear that, it's incredible.
Yeah, so I wrote that song when my uncle was diagnosed with dementia and passed, sadly, a couple of years ago. But as I was writing it, and he was passing or had recently passed, 3 of the other members in the band, their grandparents, subsequently all got diagnosed with dementia, and 2 have since passed as well, and 1 is in palliative care at this point in time. So for the 4 out of the 5 of the band, when I was writing this, everybody was kind of pouring their emotions in about how they were feeling about it. So it became this outpour of a collective emotion, and a big kind of like honoring track to family members who are not around anymore. And I think it was incredibly powerful to write, and very cathartic, because it was one of these songs that describes how you're feeling whilst trying to care for somebody who is no longer there anymore in spirit, but is there in body. And the song talks about having to grieve not once but twice for the person. So it became an incredibly the song brought us all together as a group. And I remember the first time we played it live, nobody could look at each other, because every time I turned, I remember singing the first few lines of the song, and I was like, the tears started coming out of my eyes, and I turned around to Jack. Jack couldn't look at me because he was crying. I turned around to Tony's crying. I turned around to everyone's crying on stage, and then we looked out in front, and everyone was having a weep, because we all know what it's about. And I think we can smile about it now because I feel it served a purpose and will continue to serve a purpose for those who've lost people close to them. But on this tour, strangely enough, well, I say strangely enough, my cousins whose father the song was written about actually came to our show in Folsom in California, and I never thought I'd get to sing the song to them about their father. So it kind of evoked even more emotion on the tour, and I was hugging my cousin during the set, and the show was in a church, and it was just all it was.
Wow.
I feel lyrically it's one of my favorite songs I've ever written. So yeah, it holds a lot of it holds a very special place in my heart,
Man, and listening to it when you guys performed it live, it was incredible. You know, there's a lot of times that when I'm talking to people about the music that I listen to, because I'm a metalhead, and hip hop. That's those are my two favorite genres. But it's like, people will talk about, well, how can metal be emotional? Well, you hear a song like that, and it's like, how can it not be? Because I'm sitting there listening to that, and I'm just like, look, goosebumps. I got goosebumps, you telling the story. And it is such an incredible, incredible song.
Thank you. And it's strange because yes, metal is full of a lot of emotion, but I do feel it like it is mischaracterized a lot because there's a lot of vile songs out there, a lot of like really nasty ones, which is fine. Like, it's a way for people to display how they feel, which is a raw emotion.
Right.
Sometimes that stuff doesn't really resonate with me. Sometimes it does, but I feel that anything that aggressive and that angry sounding, whether it is about something emotional or not, is emotion displayed in raw power. So it's quite funny when people are like, oh, there's no emotion in it, it's just shouting. I was like, but that is the emotion, isn't it? It's pure anger, like displayed in a violently audible form.
Yep, exactly. We have different blocks on Radio 13, and one of them is metal in the morning, because I always say, what's better than metal in the morning? Nothing.
Yeah.
It gets you jacked up, gets you ready for the day. If you can't get jacked up with metal, and especially if you get behind the lyrics, because to me, the lyrics and the ministries are so important, and you get behind them and you can really just soak them in, just like a sponge. I just soak everything in, and it's great. I will say there's a couple things on your set that I honestly say I've been to hundreds of concerts over the years. I've been in radio. With this gig, I've been in, coming up on 2.5, 3 years. But before, I was on terrestrial radio. I had a show up in Minneapolis for years. And so I've been to concerts all over the place. The one thing I've never actually seen, I saw witness at your set. I've never seen someone said, hang on, I need a spot of tea. Never.
That's what I'm drinking right now.
No, yeah. Hold on, I need a spot of tea. Not drinking water. That was really cool. And I thought one of my favorite parts, and I think it might have been Forever Hollow, all of you gentlemen came out from behind the microphones and did the yell without the aid of the mics. Now, granted, we were playing in an old theater, so the acoustics were great. But it was just so powerful when you see all the members at the front of the stage doing a yell. I was just like, man, I'm blown away. Absolutely blown away.
I think when we, firstly, I can never not have a bit of tea on stage. I have to, well, especially when in America, you have to kind of lean into the stereotype a little bit. But I do actually use a very special vocal tea to help with my to help soothe my throat when I'm on tour. But I think we're a very passionate band, and we're a very energetic band, as you're probably aware now, climbing on and off stage, jumping around with people. we love music and we love being at shows and being at gigs and supporting other bands. So when we play, we have a lot of fun and we want to jump around. We want to scream and shout. And I think when people see the energy, happiness and emotion that we put into it, it really kind of, I guess, kind of electrifies people into this excited mode of like, oh wow, we just want to celebrate and scream and shout. And I don't know, sometimes I don't know what comes over me, but to draw back in those quiet moments and scream without the microphone feels like, you know, the call out that's needed, the unification of everybody in the room. And it just feels like there's just an energy running through me, if that makes sense. And I just want to scream as loud as I can without any aid. And the boys, you know, are there behind me. Some of them are doing it without me, you know, they're just going crazy. And it's just because everybody's having fun and, you know, wants to scream from the top of their lungs. So, yeah, we have a great time doing it.
It absolutely just works. So that was the last stop on your tour. And the energy you guys showed, I would love to have seen what the first show in the U.S. would have been, because you guys were just bringing it your entire set. And I know you guys were on the road for almost a month.
Yeah, it was just over three and a half weeks we were out for. So 18 shows total.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
To have that kind of energy at the end of 18 shows, 3.5, 4 weeks, man, I would have needed 5 ice bags at the end of the show. You know?
Oh, yeah. Well, on that, actually, it's quite funny. I had the consultation for my knee today. So when we were playing the show, I think to add context, I was icing my knee beforehand because I'd injured it at a previous show, and I can't put my finger on which show it was, because we just do, like I say, the same thing every night. We bring a lot of energy, and I end up doing a lot of stage dives, crowd surfs, jumping around, twisting, and my knee had swollen up. It was like a melon, and I was icing it before and after the show to kind of numb it so I could do it. And I said to the guys, I was like, I think I'm gonna have to take a chill one tonight. I won't, you know, give it too much. The moment the first beat kicked in, I was off the stage, hanging off things, jumping around. And the moment I finished the set, I was like, this was such a bad idea. And yeah,
Were you there when Jack commented on that, when you were telling me that story at the concert? Did you hear what Jack said?
No.
It was awesome. He goes, we had a little bit of a preset meeting, and you were telling him that you're gonna have to take the night off. He goes, well, that was a wasted conversation.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're in the crowd.
Yeah, I can't not, because I just want to have a good time. And I don't know, I think if I don't move, I feel like the energy starts to dip, and I think, yeah, I just want to kind of have a good time, and it just takes over me. But yeah, I think I went to the GP today, and they think I've got a tear in my cartilage in my knee because of it.
Wow. Well,
So
brother, we'll be praying for.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it.
So, is there a big difference between touring in the United States and, besides the food, and Europe?
A tremendous difference, and it comes down to the drives. The drives are something else. The country is like, I've got a lot of family in the States. I've spent a lot of time in America. I was in California in October last year, and October the year before that as well. Like, I really, really love America, but I have never driven some of the distances I have ever driven in my life on that tour. It is so far. I think, you know, I think the third or fourth show was 600 or 700 miles, and you're like, oh, okay, that's 9 hours in the car. You're like, but the great thing about driving in America is when it says 6 hours, because it's one straight road,
Yep.
you're driving for 6 hours. Like that's it. Whereas in the UK, if you say, all right, I live in South London, if I wanted to go to North London, which, may I add, is only 16 miles in a straight line, I have to go around London because it will take me 4 or 5 hours to do 16 miles in a straight line, but it will take me 2 hours to go around it, and that ends up being 70 miles. So there's such a disproportion to how the driving in the UK. But I think one of the longest drive we did on the run was from San Antonio, Texas to Phoenix, Arizona, which was 960 or 970 miles.
Wow.
That is more than the length, the longest journey that you can take in the UK.
Wow. So it's like driving from one end to the other in the UK.
And then another 100, 150 miles on top.
Wow.
And we cannot do as much driving in the UK as you guys do in the States. It's crazy. But the country itself, I love. It's so beautiful. The vast landscapes and like temperature changes, just the diversity of the land is phenomenal. Like, one moment you can be in a desert, the next you can be in the mountains, and it'd be like, I don't know, 110 degrees in the desert. And then you're up in the mountains and you're at like 40, 50 degrees and it's snowing.
Yeah.
It's like, where on earth can you find this? So, the country's incredible. One thing I never expected, and I think I described to you when we were talking, is how thriving the Christian music scene is in the States and how incredible all the people are. I didn't, to be honest, I didn't know what to expect. We talked to the guys in Convictions beforehand a lot, obviously, because we were setting the tour up. Bloodlines and Cultists, who unfortunately weren't able to do the Denver show and had done like half of the run each. And the way in which the people, the Christian people coming to the shows would support the bands is like nothing I've ever seen before, because there just simply isn't that scene here in the UK. There is in like other countries around Europe. Germany has a good Christian scene. Places in the Netherlands, like Sweden and stuff, have a bit of a kind of a thriving Christian scene. But I've never seen any, and the kindness, Drew, the gifts we were given, the support. People were putting us up in their houses. They were giving us clothes, food, money. Like as a band coming over and having spent the amount of money that it was to, get the visas and the flights and then the travel and everything like that, the generosity was unfathomable. And I can't wait to come back to see more people celebrating their faith. It's incredible.
We were talking about that, and I believe it was when Convictions was on stage. And Michael is not the type of lead singer that's going to go and he's going to start preaching. But what he does is completely unashamed about his faith. He talks about his faith, and he just does it unabashed. And I love what he says about, doesn't matter to me where you're at in your journey right now. Just remember that you're loved. And the one true King loves you. And after he said that, you said that kind of stuff in concerts, maybe not in churches or anything over in England, but he would be booed off the stage at a lot of venues just by saying that, and he wasn't even preaching.
No. And I watch Michael do that every night, and it's infatuating how charismatic he is and how passionate he is, not just about his faith, but about what his message and what Conviction's message is. I watched Bloodlines and Alexis from Bloodlines stand up and preach every night for 7 nights, and I do not think I have ever been more enthralled by somebody's words, other than the pastor at my church.
Right.
It's infectious listening to it, and it's incredible watching these guys celebrate their faith and Jesus in the way that they want to, and they can do it, and it's amazing. But it's just not a thing here. It's just simply like people would walk out.
Wow, that is
and it was such a conditioning thing for me, watching these guys do it, and I was like, oh my, are people going to walk? I was stunned. People were still in the room. And then I realized after 2 shows, I was like, oh, they can do this here. Like, it's accepted. So
it's just playing in churches and worship centers and stuff like that. You guys are playing in bars and theaters and everything else.
Yeah.
That's what I just so dig on metal artists that do that. I call you guys the frontline warriors. You guys are the ones that are going out there. You guys are the ones, we are, as it says on the bottom here, I am the talentless host. I just grab onto the coattails of the more talented, but I consider ourselves the logistics behind the war, right? You guys are the frontline warriors, and we're there to help you guys spread the message. And I mean, that's our ministry. That's our job. That's what God has called us to do.
Yeah.
So anything we can do to help you, that's great. So what's new on the horizon? You got new music? You guys got to be working on new music.
I mean, do you know, whenever I hear interviews of bands and people go, nothing yet. It's lie. I hate it when bands do that, because they're always working on stuff. And it's silly to say, like, you've got nothing planned for the future. Okay. We're absolutely working on new material at this point in time. We've got, I think at last count, there's something like 25 demos floating around that we're now trying to collate into a piece of work. We were writing a lot. Well, I was writing a lot of lyrics while we were away. Since we've been back, we've completed a couple of songs, which we're going to start working on some pre-production for. And we've got timelines, which these are the things I can't discuss because we're unsure about what the release schedule will look like. But we want to be coming out with music very soon. And it's our drive. We were in the studio earlier this year working on some pre-production things. So, we're not far away, but we've got to work with schedules that we've got assigned for next year as well. We want to make sure that things are aligned to benefit the additional things that we're working on. So everything kind of in conjunction with each other, rather than just throwing things out into the ether and hoping that things align. As much as the hand of God is going to guide us in one way, shape, or form, we've got to work with it and make sure that we are, aligning these timelines together. So we're working very hard at the moment, and I think there has definitely been a re-energized view on our music. A lot of our kind of time was spent trying to get ourselves out to America. Now that we know it's going to be a bit easier now because we've been out there, we can do it now.
And people dig on your stuff too. I mean, that's one thing that has to be nice, that you can come over to America and people just dig on your stuff.
Well, I think we underestimated the response that we were going to have, because I was blown away by how many people knew who we were, came with merchandise ready to be signed, bought merchandise, just generally hung out and sung the words with us. So, it was, exactly. It's great. It's one of my favorite T-shirts, that one.
Oh, I love this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to fix it. You guys sold them with sleeves on it. What I don't know what you're thinking.
What's the
He had
point?
some
What's the point? We should have 2 variants.
Well, no, you should just talk to the people that make your T-shirts and saying,
Yeah.
why are you giving us defective T-shirts?
Exactly.
So
But yeah,
I'm not sure how it works with you over there in the UK, but in the United States, so what generally happens is when an artist drops a new song, they always drop it at midnight on a Friday. So Eastern time, and it's always Eastern time. We are in the Central time zone. So the nice thing is I get to play it at 11 p.m. legally because
yeah.
midnight
It's out.
Eastern. So I don't care when your music comes out, what time of the day it is. So what I like to do is when a band that I really dig is dropping a new song, I wait until it's ready to go on iTunes, and I will purchase it and I will play it that same night. So I think my record is like 11:03 playing a new song, a new cut. So that's what I promise to you guys. That's what I will do. And whenever you guys decide to drop a new album, I will jump on iTunes, I will grab it, and I will play it as fast as humanly possible live on the air.
Well, like I said to you in person, I can't even begin to appreciate the support that you've given us and the voice that you're allowing us to spread our message and fight the good fight, as you say. But yeah, we're very excited to get some new material out there. We've got a lot of stuff we're very confident about. So it's just about knuckling down and making it sound as good as possible. We've got a lot to live up to with what the last record did for us.
Well, on the bright side of things, thanks to Jack, I mean, I really have 4 new releases that I just threw into there. So it's like you guys are putting new music out all the time because I dropped 4 more into the rotation. So there's that.
I'll thank Jack for that. I'll thank Jack for that personally.
Oh man, Stephen. Number one, I apologize again for being a little bit late. I got my times mixed up. This whole time transfer thing. It was like I was in a quantum realm or something. I don't know.
I think we were trying to constantly work it out how far away we were from home or like time wise, because you'll go into, I think, where did we go from? I think we went from Georgia. Was it Georgia? No, Arkansas into Mississippi into Kentucky, and it was like we went through 2 time zones. We added an hour and then we lost an hour, and it was what, like simply driving along one road. I was like, this is madness to me. Whereas England is 1 time zone. Yep.
Nope. We have what do we have? 3 or 4, I think. So.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So
as we went further west, I was contacting my partner back home, and she was like, "You're now 5 hours." Or she was keeping like tabs on where we were, and it was like it became a little bit harder because when it got to like California, it was 9 hours away from each other.
Maybe I should have sent her the email to set this up. Then obviously,
yeah, she's on it absolutely.
So, hey, Steve, I just so much appreciate not only you sitting down chatting with me for a little bit, but you guys making that journey over to the United States for your first tour. I feel so fortunate to be in attendance, watching you guys live. I've seen a lot of your videos and stuff. They don't do it justice to be there, to feel the emotions that you guys give there. That I just, I'm blessed to be able to just sit and chat with you guys. I was able to talk to all 5 of you. It was great. I got a drumstick. Used drumstick. It was awesome. But man, I just can't thank you guys enough for what you do for the kingdom. And like I said, I mean, I'll be on a step stool, but then I'll stand shoulder to shoulder with you guys in any fight you guys have. So,
you might need 2 for Seb because I think he stands around 6'7",
dude. I told you I took a picture. You're gonna have to hang out near the back because I can't do that, man.
Well, in every band photo, when we're trying to line everyone up, he has to bend his knees. So when we're doing multiple like shots, you can see how far his grimace is by how long he's stood in that position. So if he's kind of like really grinning and bearing, he's been asked to squat for quite a period of time.
Awesome, man. Hey, you got anything else for us?
Well, like I said, it's not going to be the last time we come over to America. I know we're cooking a few bits up for next year. So, cliche, but watch this space because we are coming back, and we're very, very excited to come back.
Yeah, and I guarantee you, when you come back, man, we will do whatever we can to help promote it. Jump on the road. Well, I'll jump on the motorcycle again. We'll come out and check you guys out no matter where you're at. So, man, again, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time. I know it's super busy. You got to go get your knee fixed. You got to do all that kind of stuff. So taking the time out to talk to a slug like me, greatly appreciate it, man. So
you're amazing, and thank you so much for doing what you do for us.
All right. Well, that's Steve from Confessions of a Traitor, and anybody that listens to this show knows that you hear Confessions of a Traitor a lot on Radio 13. So God bless you, Steve. God bless your entire crew, your family, your friends, everybody that's around there. Say hi to all the guys in the band for me, would you? I appreciate them just being so open and hanging out. So
God bless you, man. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Until you got something new news and you want to do this again, I'm open anytime you are, brother.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Hey, God bless you, man.
God bless you.